Abe here, and I wanted to let you know that if you're able, you can upgrade your small beans skill over at patreon.com/smallbeans. Here's why you should do that. If you pledge 5 measly beans a month, you get access to about half our podcasts that you don't get if you're just listening to the free feed. Shows include Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys, Like Razor Blade Pie, and bonus episodes of I'll Show You Mine If You Show Me Yours. Not to mention bonus content including info and updates on the movie we're making, Papa Bear. Hey, where's all the reasons to not subscribe to Patreon? I can't find them. Anyway, back to the show.
You're about to hear the recorded audio diaries of Michael Swain, Adam Ganzer, and Abe Epperson, transmitted to you from another dimension through the wonder of podcast technology. Lost in the multiverse, they have to dig into a different piece of multiversal fiction each episode, in the hopes of finally discovering a way back to their reality. How do they know this isn't their reality? Because one of them is being a real asshole. Will our heroes ever make it home, or will they inadvertently explore our obsession with multiverses, alternate timelines, and parallel worlds, and tie it all into a conversation about postmodern art, pop culture, and what it means to be a human right now? This is Escape from the Multicurse.
You know what my observation for you is? You know what it is? We all should carry fucking swords. Every one of us needs to have a... Yeah, why not? What's the harm of it?
Like a Buster Sword, like Cloud in FF7. Yeah, that is what she has, by the way.
She has a Buster Sword. We all saw it. It's
a bumper sword.
They never acknowledge it, but fine.
They never acknowledge it? And the thing is, how come only she gets one?
Right. Is it like a special tool? What's it mean?
Everyone else is in identical mech suits, but she gets a sword. Yeah.
Right. The sword really bothered me, and then I kind of let it happen, and I was like, maybe I could be sword. Maybe I could be sword. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, welcome to this podcast, Escape from the Multicurse. I'm Adam, the man who should be sword from now on. And with me, frankly, are the rest of my sword boys. Introduce yourselves, gentlemen.
I'm Mr. Katana, the one who gets drunk at night and buys swords and then regrets it.
Mr. Katana is an excellent nickname, by the way.
And I'm Emily Blunt. A blunt instrument indeed. Don't know why they gave me a sword in the movie Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Welcome, Emily. It's an honor to have you.
Welcome, Emily.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. You know, it was marketed as getting edged tomorrow.
Really?
Oh, yeah? Really?
I was not aware of that.
No, what the fuck? No.
Live, die, retain.
No, this is live, die, retain. Dude, you gotta keep your essence.
Yeah.
Retain
your essence.
You gotta maintain your essence.
It directly affects your sword ability.
Right. I'm seeing a lot of things now that are going to happen because of this.
I'm Abe.
Great.
Oh, okay. So that's
and
not
I have
bit.
my essence.
Okay, good.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shing!
Great. Well,
this is Escape from the Multicurse.
Knowing all that and having heard Tom yammer at you about what this podcast is about, let's not waste any more time on the edge of tomorrow and instead get right into tomorrow today on our first segment, Mapping the Multiverse? ?
Multi-map. I think it's just called the multi-map.
I know, but I've resisted that title this whole time.
Okay.
Anyway, this is the part...
different every time, and I love that for the show.
I know.
Well, we are in different realities every time. Yeah, it's
not intentional.
You get the idea.
Don't act like you made this happen.
Right. There's a map, there's a multiverse, things are going on. Anyway,
it's fucking great.
This segment is the one where the three of us map out the views that we have. You know, any hot takes about how this particular entry into our canon discusses the multiverse.
No, that's not what it is. See, that's the other thing is Adam and I always fundamentally disagree about what this segment is.
All right, what is it? You tell me what it is then, and bring your sword. Get it sharp.
Multi-map, shing, the multi-map is where we say in what unique way this movie uses the multiverse concept.
Yeah,
what is it trying to accomplish?
We don't all talk about that.
That's not a hot take.
Oh, wow. Well, I've discovered a new version of this format that I didn't know existed. Which
it's not gamer
me.
rants.
Yeah, I know. I'm too stuck in that one way. Anyway, how about then, therefore, you, sir, explain how this movie uses the multiverse, if you would.
Well, we're all on the internet, but I'm going to assume you, sir, referred to me.
Yeah, you, Mike.
Oh, okay,
Mike
you in the back with the
Dr. Katana, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Katana Esquire.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Fucking do it.
Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow, 2014. This is an easy one, guys. It's a Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, it's a Groundhog's Day.
And it, to a lesser extent, it's a butterfly effect. It uses the idea of multiple realities to examine something we think about a lot as human beings. What if I could go back and do it different? What if I got another shot? What if I had all the stuff I know now, but I could try again? I mean, ever since video games existed, it begs the question, right? What if life was a video game? And it even follows the same rough beats as Groundhog's Day, which I think all time loops must, because the first time you time loop, you're confused. The 50th time you time loop, you're cocky because now you know everything and you're great at it. The 1000th time you time loop, you're in despair because this is a living hell now. And that's basically Groundhog's Day and Edge of Tomorrow. Those are the emotional beats. That's how it uses time loops. Bang,
completely.
Bang, slice.
Bingo, bango.
Completely. Now, Abe, perhaps you would introduce the segment I was considering before. Where
don't we each
picks.
go?
Oh, okay.
I mean,
so this
you
is
nailed it. I have nothing to add.
Okay, great. Oh, great. Well, okay, fine. Then I guess I'll.
If you got something worth saying,
if you got something,
I mean, of course, I think I do. I think one thing that occurred to me about this version of, of the multiverse is this is the only way we can handle the idea of repeated time is if it's funny. Like I think repetition is so crushing. Like such a crushing experience that if there's not jokes, we can't even watch a movie about it.
This movie's funnier than I remembered. It has
to be a comedy, right? That's the thing. This movie kind of proves this must be a comedy for it to work, really, because otherwise, the sense of despair and futility of this structure of the universe is really profound. I think that's why Groundhog Day is the best of these still, because it also taps into that for meaning, and Edge of Tomorrow kind of doesn't. You know, so
I'm always shocked.
That is interesting.
I'm always shocked when he drives his car off the cliff and kills himself. I was like, wow.
And then a series of suicides. Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark, you know. This movie did the thing that I would have probably thought before this movie existed was like a complete no-no with a time loop, which is don't use the time loop don't make the time loop a plot point. Just make it a thing that's true about the universe and use it for other reasons, right? That's the way to do this. Now, this movie's all about plotifying the time loop.
Meaning the Groundhog's Day arc is actually a rom-com. That's what it's about.
Right. People don't know this, and this is not a podcast about Groundhog Day, and maybe there will be one dimension, but like Groundhog Day had a scene that explained why there was a time loop in it originally, and they cut it. Because it was like, no, we don't want to know. Knowing actually reduces it and erases its importance.
Whereas this is like the blue blood lands on you and it
flips us back in time.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Sends you back to the time responder.
The time
and you
responder.
gotta go to the Louvre. Get to the Louvre, Tom.
That's the other alternate title. It could have been "Get to the Louvre, Tom," because they kept changing the title.
Yeah,
get him to the Louvre. Anyway. Does anyone, Abe, do you have any other thing that you want to add to this or no?
Yeah, I mean, my reaction was kind of the same as yours, like in terms of like when you kind of look at how much of the like fun and games sequence, how long it is.
Yes.
It's just most of the movie.
Yes.
And the other thing that I realized is that like editing is magic. You know, how many times they can just write it with this like system where it's just like live, die, repeat, you know, where it just goes, the hard out is of a scene can always be a punchline, can always be either a joke or an emotional moment. It can be anything because it has the added weight of this is all a montage kind of. And it's, I don't know, I like this movie. This movie is like action packed and fun. It's a good movie to go to your buddy's house on Hollywood and Vine at night.
That's very specific.
Okay. Hollywood and Vine. Yeah, okay.
I'm going to choose to ignore that for now.
Yeah. I bet that won't be anything later.
No, it's not going to come up again. Let's move into our next segment.
This is
verses on
right?
verses already? Yeah, verses on verses
yeah.
where we just talk. The first thing I want to shout out is his character name in this is Private Cage, and he's trapped in a private cage.
Oh,
yes.
The time loop is his private cage.
That's fucking stupid. I love it.
Dumb.
Speaking of fucking stupid, I don't know if it's the best or worst performance of this man's career, but Bill Paxton. Holy shit, man. He's really
You're
going
American.
for it.
No, sir, I'm from Kentucky.
Jesus Christ. It's fun.
Yeah, it is kind of like, he actually is a necessary ingredient to, I'm going to buy into this movie.
Well,
right?
he says the resonant line, too. Through readiness and discipline, we are masters of our fate.
Right,
which is a very katana-friendly statement.
Right, yeah. The way of the blade. That's like the first page.
100%. I think this movie is one of the most death-averse movie I've ever seen in my life. You mentioned, Abe, with your editing comment, you can keep cutting in and out of scenes. There is almost no suffering in this movie. Like they try so hard to eradicate the messiness of death in a way that's like, well, shooting him in the head wouldn't instantly kill him. We never see any of those things go wrong.
Slowly bleeding out on the battlefield over hours before you can. Yeah. Or like even Kimmel, the guy that gets crushed by the plane, he's gone, right? In an instant, he's smashed to hamburger.
It's always the best way death can happen. Like the best version of death. Instant death.
Quickly and unexpected.
Yes.
That's right.
You don't feel it, you don't think about it.
Is that just a product of the looping nature, or is it because they want the movie to be fun?
I mean, it has to be both, right?
Yeah.
But I think another way of asking the question that interests me here is like, why is it necessary for us in a movie not to see the suffering to enjoy this? You know what I mean?
I think it's the same question as like, why do we want it when it's Reservoir Dogs and
I was just about
bleeding
to bring
out in the car?
Yeah, I was like, maybe Tom Cruise is not the type of guy we want to see. I love cop,
Oh God, yeah. Because that, like, to me, that's an example of extreme in the other direction. So I only bring it up just because I think that
great movie.
It's a taste. A filmmaker just says, "This is the kind of movie I want to make."
Yeah.
So there's no deeper meaning to that, you don't think?
Maybe there is. Maybe that's why they did it. I can't see it.
To make it a comedy action movie, like you said, it knows its lane. And this is not a movie where we contemplate the pain of dying alone. It's a movie where we're looping and kicking ass and powering up.
The movie is almost always about learning from accidents. And I think that's important that we all agree that some accidents, there's nothing really to learn from, and they definitely don't need to be prosecuted or made into a big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meaning when people make accidents in life.
Right. I agree.
There's nothing to be learned. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or thought about, or just considered. If you'd cast Will Ferrell in this lead part and made it overtly
as the Full Metal
a comedy,
bitch, I assume you mean.
Ooh, now we're talking. No, but like if you'd gone full comedy with it, right? Like you don't Tom Cruise it, you make like Will Ferrell. 100% they do the joke that he didn't die instantly. Right? Like it's this perfect sort
of...
he's
trapped in a glass case of emotion as he slowly bleeds out.
Right,
yeah.
right. That's
Will
exactly
Ferrell
the
would
joke
crush
they
that.
do.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Amazing. I'm just really fascinated by the way that death has to exist in a movie that's fundamentally about experiencing death over and over and over and over and over.
Right, but it takes the sting out because you're going to live again. It's video games, man. It made me want to play Returnal again. Is this the first roguelite movie?
Oh.
Or would that be Groundhog's Day? I think it kind
Groundhog
of is.
Day is if you it just depends on what you consider a mission, like getting into Andy McDowell's pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like almost a 1-to-1 just
it's
because you have a
Hades-esque.
sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't all get a sword.
No,
gotta be
but
special.
if you're good enough, you get a sword.
We all get a sword, though.
Am I right?
Enough.
the implication is the reason that she killed 100 mimics on her first day is because she was in a time loop and she got super good through
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Correct.
That's
correct.
Yes.
That's exactly
Everybody gets a loop.
It's
Not everybody.
gets
just
a loop.
2. And that's why they're perfect for each other, because they got looped.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
So in
loop
the
twins.
end, we can say the movie now says you may fuck.
But yeah, I think it's, well, okay. If we're getting into that, let's talk about that. I really liked that it seemed like they just formed a friendship that was about mutual respect and dedication to the mission. I forgot that they kiss at the end, and I think it's totally unearned and stupid. I think they had 2 things. I think they should have stayed dead. I think their sacrifice should have been a sacrifice.
That would have been interesting. Yeah.
And I don't think they should have kissed. I think they just should have been colleagues who respect each other.
That's kind of why I feel like ultimately this is a comedy. That ending is a comedy ending. Like, it actually takes all the stakes and satisfaction of
the final shot of this is a classic Tom Cruise chuckle. Like, it's just a medium shot, medium close of Tom Cruise doing his perfect smile, like his angelic smile.
Cage has been freed.
Yeah.
Can I ask another question?
Even though she doesn't know, like, he can just like basically run at her in like New Game Plus, basically.
That's right. Yes, exactly
like,
right.
that's kind of fucked up. Like, because she has no clue who he is at the very end of the movie.
Oh, and
She's
he
like,
gets one more shot.
And he
has
smiles.
a fresh
and he's
loop.
Like, yeah, but he's done it a million times, presumably.
Right.
So
he's
just gonna manipulate her into bed.
Right. He's gonna Bill Murray her all the way into exactly the relationship.
It's the same exact observation.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do that. Do you think that the aliens are good in this? Like, not good morally, good. Like, is this a good movie for aliens? Is it fun?
Yeah, I think they're ET style, man. It's like, why do you keep bagging on these aliens? I don't know why they're called mimics, because they don't mimic anything.
Right.
I thought that was odd, and it must be from the book, because this is based on a book called something Kill. I forget. Infinite
it's
Kill
amazing.
or something.
It's amazing to me that it's based on a book, because, man, it really, really feels more than any movie I can think of like they took, all right, it's half Groundhog Day, half, Gears of War, half Aliens. Like it feels like a pure Frankenstein of other things you've seen. Like, just
but
a really
good
well
one.
done
like,
one.
I just want to
really
be
well
on the
done.
record saying
they marry well.
I like this movie a lot.
Me
it
too.
feels like one of the best. I love standalone sci-fi movies that just get in and get out and never have a sequel. And this is up there with like Dark City and Upgrade as just a great sci-fi movie that's fun as hell the whole time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of does prove that sometimes formulaic filmmaking is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Sure, fusion, if it's like, Tex-Mex is good fusion.
Right.
If it works, it works.
Every like couple years there's a movie that's so formulaic but perfectly executed that it's like, well, shit, I guess Hollywood does know what they're doing. This is 100% that movie to me.
They're also both very charismatic, like even the sequence where he's getting run over by the tires and stuff like that, and he kind of like, all right, here I go, and he does it different every time. It's kind of like he's got that charisma. Hey, you think running over someone just once with your tires is enough to kill them, though?
Yeah, I was just about to say that one. If they had stayed on the shot, he would be like crushed ribcage, breathing blood, right?
Yeah. I don't think it should be enough to kill somebody. I think he should have like gotten up and been fine, and like maybe he's faking it.
Yeah, because otherwise it ruins the driver's life, and that's kind of not necessary, right?
This is a really good point.
I mean, that's a great point.
Just a simple mistake. Yeah.
It's a really good point. If you were these two people, wouldn't you steal blue blood from one of those creatures and like
smear it on your face?
Yeah, just initiate loops for however long you want, and you know what I mean?
Well, there was a gruesome death. The first, like the one that starts the loop,
that
fucking
one was
melts
brutal.
His face.
Yeah. That one was brutal. So
also, did you think the aliens were good before we move on?
No, I didn't. No, that was actually the thing.
They were kind of generic.
They felt so Xbox villain to me. Like, like they really didn't seem good at all. And that was like, there's just no personality to this bad guy at all. And I don't know if they're robots or exactly anything about them other than they move really fast and that's cool.
And there's a special one, and then there's a queen. Yeah, it's pretty basic.
There's an intriguing aspect of the organism, but like there's no... in a way, I kind of like that in other sci-fi like things, you know, like when the alien is so different, like Arrival we talked about last month,
the heptapods.
Yeah.
Like they're the incredulity, like the inability for us to see through like what they're trying to do or what they are thinking. It's so foreign to us is a cool thing to do in sci-fi. It also creates boring ass aliens like these where they're just big beasts if they need to be.
It's a cool visual effect when they're thrashing all around, but that's about it.
Also it further reinforced the idea that this was being made out of an algorithm because they seem so much like the machines from the Matrix. You know, like it's just one of those things where it's like, you know, like
oh yeah, the Sentinels, the flying guys with the tentacles,
but with less personality somehow. Like literally less.
Well, because they're just a knot. It looks like something you pulled out of your bathtub drain, like just a knot of hair.
Mm-hmm.
Killing.
And like,
you.
I don't know, there's that's a quibble in a sense, but it's really strange in a movie that is fundamentally an alien movie for the aliens to take up so little emotional real estate for us.
Well, especially when the alpha is then like a coherent looking beast, like it looks like a jungle cat or something, like a saber-toothed tiger. It's like, why is that related to that? And then the omega is just kind of a squid.
It's like a big
The alien ecology could have been much more compelling and interesting, but you know,
it's
they're disposable
unneeded
baddies.
because the story is really about like the loop. That's a big enough
the
offer.
loop is the star.
100%.
Like I would say that like it's by design because I think that they would feel it would be a hat on a hat, you know,
for the aliens to have a whole thing to them.
Yeah, like just the idea that they can essentially track Cage, but he can track them. Hey, do you think they put trackers in the bodies of famous people?
Not all of them,
maybe.
Not all. Some of them. Not all of them.
Like dogs?
Yeah. I mean, name one, and I'll tell you if I think they have it. Just name a famous person. I'll tell you. But
like a celebrity.
Yeah. Like who are we thinking?
You can't name one celebrity.
You can't name a celebrity. You know.
John, Joey,
Emily,
John Spender,
Paxton, shit,
Emily Paxton,
Brendan Gleeson.
Right? Yeah. That was surprising.
Oh yeah, he was an interesting cast for sure.
Well, because hey, a quick plug: every Monday we do movie night with our patrons. Come check it out. Discord server,
it's awesome.
Small Beans Discord. We just watched In Bruges, and it was really weird to see Brendan Gleeson do this again. Just such a different character. Yeah, the general.
Mm-hmm.
In Bruges is a masterpiece. I wish it was a multiverse so that we could go there, but it isn't.
No, we're not here to discuss In Bruges.
Yeah, 100%. I kind of also feel like sci-fi alien movies sort of divide neatly into two camps that are both kind of boring. One of them is bullets and the other is lasers. You know what I mean? I feel like every alien fight is one of those two things. And I'm like, why is that true? Why does
Upgrade
it feel like...
is knives, but I guess there's no aliens in Upgrade.
Well,
it's just fighting humans.
There's AI, which serves the purpose narratively of a lot of alien stories, but
I mean, that's why I think Aliens is so well regarded. As the final fight is in a mech suit slugging it out, which is a unique. It's not just pew pews. Yeah. I'm watching Stargate Atlantis right now, which is a great show, really strong sci-fi.
That's interesting.
But so much of it is firefights, and I will admit, and like Star Wars and so many things, Star Trek with the phasers, people in costumes just standing pretending to zap each other does get old pretty quick.
Real stoops. Yeah, very stoops. Also hilarious if you take the sound design away. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like very
Just
funny.
A silent room with people clicking.
Right. They're still grunting though, because you gotta grunt when you pull it.
Yeah, you
gotta grunt that laser.
You gotta grunt or that laser's not coming out. Yeah, that's a real problem.
That's my movie.
Speaking of Star Wars, I thought the maybe the only weak offer I thought was that weird gizmo that the scientist guy gives them that shows them the Omega's location.
Yeah.
That just, it felt like the Star Wars thing where they're like, if we get this crystal and combine it with two other crystals, we can make a map that'll tell us where Palpatine is. It's like, just get on with it. I don't know. He should have just had visions.
I kind of felt like also the blue monsters wouldn't be that hard to find ever. You know what I mean? Like, I know he's tracking the alpha, like the specific, but like,
They're super
they're
rare.
reporting, you know what I mean? Like, they're sort of reporting. How are they not tracked? This is a thing that could have been tracked with computers and satellites is the point I'm getting at. You know what I mean?
Like they specifically find the alphas? Well,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What if once he knew that that's how it worked, what if they told the military, okay, gather up a bunch of these alphas and make a bunch of super soldiers who can loop?
That's
I guess
what they would do.
Yeah.
That's what
they
I'm saying.
would do.
The loop technology is a thing they wouldn't have agreed to allow, like to let go. Like they would have been like they would have absolutely kept one of those alphas alive, like it was Starship Troopers, and done tests on it forever.
It really feels like it owes a lot to Starship Troopers, by the way. Incidentally,
yeah. This is a classic Oppenheimer situation where it's like there's just no way once this technology to have a time loop exists, there's absolutely no way that they let.
That's a classic sci-fi problem. It's like once they establish in Star Trek that Data has super speed, we'll do that every time. Have Data do it every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because sci-fi is about creating overpowered technology, and then you just have to judiciously not have it, like the teleporter or whatever. You can solve every problem with a teleporter. Frankly,
yeah, of course, and that's
teleport
been my
the alien
in
into space.
Yeah.
Teleport half of the alien 3 feet to the left. Done.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely,
Teleporters, baby.
Yeah,
we need more of them.
The best war crime.
Yeah, you wouldn't even need cars, Abe, if you had a teleporter.
Yeah, but you could kill your opponent.
Okay. All right. Now fine. I'm confused. Okay, I thought you considered it a mistake, but now it seems like you are into it.
Yeah. Seems like you're.
Hey, do you think they can track your phone like retroactively?
Who's they?
Like the Alpha does.
Who's they?
And
the powers that be, like the Alpha in this movie. They know where Tom Cruise is. Do you think Tom Cruise's phone is being tracked?
Bro, I can track your phone.
Wait.
And if I can do it.
Did you hit Tom Cruise with your car? Is that what I'm gathering?
Is that where he is?
That's comedy.
I'm asking the questions here.
You're just a funny guy. You always mention these bits.
Yeah. But to answer your question, yes, absolutely. They're coming for you, Abe. They're tracking you now.
Oh no.
That's what I thought, bitch.
Oh, no.
You full metal bitch.
He is a full metal bitch. Not to nitpick the premise of our show too much. Is this a multiverse?
So who did I choose this one? Who suggested this?
I did not, so I guess it must be you.
I think I suggested this or the Jetsons Meet the Flintstones. Something. I did something dumb instead.
Yeah.
But I was going. So we have a big list of Multicurse topics, and I just picked it because I know people like this movie, and I want people to enjoy themselves. But I have that same question, and I was not the one who said we could do time loop movies. I remember back in the day, someone was like, time loops count. And I was like, oh, do they?
I'm not fighting it. I'm more saying like, are we saying that by extrapolation, this is a multiverse purely because for this to be possible, we have to be jumping into alternate realities? You know what I mean?
But see, that's why I mentioned butterfly effect. I think in butterfly effect, every time you make a different decision, it's like M theory in quantum physics. You're splitting reality and creating a new universe. I would argue that the way this time loop works, no, there's only one universe. It's deterministic. You're changing the universe over and over. Like there is legit one thing going on. Right? That's the impression.
I guess so, but I keep making the argument every one of these episodes that I really like, which is it's impossible for that to be true and for anybody to retain the memories of the previous thing. You know
that
what I mean?
Involves a split.
Yes. I think if your brain chemistry is altered such that you remember something from a previous iteration, then there must be a new universe. Like you have to be.
Well, that's why the ending kind of throws it away because he loops back one more time and yet he retains his success. Like he remembers that it's like the end of Doctor Strange. He gets to remember that he bravely sacrificed himself, which I would say takes the sting out of sacrificing yourself, right? You get to remember how badass and selfless you were.
That's something Marvel does all the time. Spider-Man does it as well. You know, where he gets to look at Mary Jane and he's like, oh, I know her. And she's like, I don't know him. And then, but you're like, oh, it's like bittersweet. They like play with that shit all the time because the one true timeline needs to follow some character, right? So they're the right one because they are the one that was expressed to us through,
just
scenes.
because we're following them. They're the
because we're following them,
yeah.
and we almost always like make sure it gets streamlined to one. This does the same thing where he found the perfect run.
Yeah,
right. That's
and
how these
we were
always
rooting
go.
for him to do so.
Yeah, that's how any time loop movie ultimately is like. It's always about you must do the perfect run or else the time loop will not end.
it is a roguelite.
Yeah, that's why I feel that like Multicurse or multiverses and time loops, while very separate and can be done in many different ways,
You can definitely differentiate between the two.
They're still a part of the same basic addiction we have.
Oh, for sure.
Of getting things right, working slowly, like grinding it out and becoming the best version of ourselves, which probably gets, into American, human
Exceptionalism.
Really. Exceptionalism, yeah.
Maybe, but I also think it sort of meets this like deeper need to, how do I say this? To like, have it be able to exert control over the universe in such a way that you can determine the outcomes. Like this is determining the outcomes on a level where you are the only thing that has free will. Nothing else has free will.
You're saying time loops specifically, right?
Yes,
because I feel like true multiverse movies are actually largely a symptom of the postmodern state in which we find ourselves. Like, I think a multiverse is a way to wink at the audience, do whatever you want, have Professor X show up in the yellow floaty chair because that'll make everyone cheer because they know it's from the animated series. Shit like that. Like, we've gotten to a point where we can just break the fourth wall so easily. Deadpool is rapidly losing relevance because of multiverse movies.
Yeah. And with the sickness that is also not sickness. I don't mean to call Marvel movies.
Get down with the
sickness. But like, with the fact that we are feeling fatigue, or a lot of people are, I do think that is going to be a side effect. Is that kind of meta filmmaking is also going to kind of take a hit. Like, it'll still be always there. It'll never not.
It's a new brand that's going to stick around. Yeah.
But it's definitely one that will fall out of vogue as something comes into view, because that's always how it works.
Well, this feels temporary in a way.
I've made long videos about this and thought about it forever, is what comes after postmodernism. And I think artists are struggling with that. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's hard to unravel further. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't deconstruct further than that. So now what do you do?
Right. Well, and that's a real problem for us.
Also, talking about deconstruction, how long does a human body take to decompose?
Depends. Depends what they're soaking in.
And what you did to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
you got like a rain barrel
can you give us more specifics?
Battery acid.
Yeah. I cannot.
Well, let's put it this way. Is the body super short, but we think of it as tall?
Good question.
I don't know. This is all hypothetical, but yeah, would be a great answer to that hypothetical.
This is the type of body. This is the type of body you would maybe put on an apple box to make it look taller for status.
Yeah. How much running did the body do before you killed it? A lot of running, would you say?
I don't know what you're talking about. Killing someone
before you hypothetically, air quote, killed it.
Plausible deniability.
I just want to know, how long does it take for the human body to smell?
I'm just asking.
That's hours.
That's a question in a vacuum.
That's hours, my dude.
No, I mean, like, when's that over? I want
when is it?
Hypothetically, in Minecraft, I want that to be over.
Yeah.
In Minecraft.
Yeah, the Minecraft stench, I believe, is a full calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's well known.
You're going to the Nether, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But then I get to beat the dragon.
So if he loops back,
yeah,
I guess it does matter if it's a multiverse, because my question is, Griff and Skinner, who do sacrifice themselves bravely by shooting an oil tanker, are they alive again?
I think they are,
because we see J Squad.
I think they are. I think what's implied is that we get the ultimate fresh start ending for completely unscientific reasons. You know what I mean? Like
it's because the Omega blood drenched him, but it's like, why would that do that?
Why would it send him back a day earlier even? Because that's the thing.
It sent him back to when he was a press guy in the chopper. Right. Why is that the new start point?
Right. That was weird. And, you know, I hate exposition in movies like this, but I do feel like somebody's like, the Omega would send us back even further. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we needed that line.
With that inflection.
Yeah. Right, exactly. I did it the way it
Brendan Gleeson says it.
Yeah. The Omega could fit us out even further. Yeah, that's how he sounds. That's exactly
also, a plot hole that my mom pointed out because she watched it with me that I was like, good job, Mom. You're following the time loop movie enough to see a plot hole.
I don't have to put you in a home just yet.
That's right. Not quite.
Yeah.
Was when when he wakes up in the hospital and he's had the blood transfusion and you're like, oh no, Loop Boy has lost his loop powers. He only gets one shot. Which, by the way, is great escalation. That's where you take this movie.
Yes, it's really good.
Now he only gets one shot.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to him back with J-Squad, proving that he's psychic. My question is, how did he get back there? Because now he's in a hospital. He's not, the place we keep seeing him start where he's in the handcuffs and Bill Paxton is yelling at him. Mm-hmm. How did he get from the hospital back to J-Squad at the exact moment where they're doing the card game? It's a plot hole.
I mean,
there's no answer because it's a plot hole.
Like we're gonna sit here and think about it. The helicopter again? Don't know.
Sometimes it's live, die, repeat. Sometimes it's live, die,
live, why, repeat.
Get teleported slightly to where you need to be
for the loop to lock in and do the loop again. Yeah,
100%.
But I did love the J-Squad progression, like.
Yeah.
Making them eat the cards and then covering the cards up and winking at them. It was pretty good.
As much as I'm dunking on this movie for being like rote, it's also one of the best screenplays I've seen in a pretty long time.
So tight.
Yeah, it's really well designed and tight. There's not a single missing thing from it or extra thing in it. It's like, wow, that's a really great screenplay. I need to look up who wrote it because I don't know. The director...
It's several people, including Christopher McQuarrie.
Is Jurassic World boy.
Now the Tom Cruise
of writing?
Kind of like they work together all the time.
That's
they work together like for 10 in a row. Or
is he doing
like
the Mission Impossible?
Yeah, he's done like every Mission Impossible.
Gotcha. I thought he was Jurassic World guy. Am I thinking somebody else?
He's Jurassic World. Maybe he is. He might actually be.
The director of this, guess what his first film was? You ready for this?
Well,
not his first big film, I guess, better way to say it.
Oh, yeah, Swingers.
Went from Swingers to Edge of Tomorrow.
He also made Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is relevant just because they have a TV show now.
Jon Favreau didn't direct Swingers? I thought that was
that's like the one, right, exactly. That's where the fucking time loop should have started.
Thought that's where he came
into the
from.
game as an actor,
No, lead actor, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind. Do you think this whole movie wouldn't have happened if the alphas could close their mouths? I wrote that down. That was a question.
Well, is it the blood or do they vomit stuff out?
But I feel like the blood's happening because they only have mouths open all the time. There's no reason for it.
Are we sure it's their mouth and not like their
anus?
Breathing hole?
I don't know how you distinguish between them.
What's the difference between a mouth and a breathing hole?
What do you mean by that?
A mouth is for several things.
Oh, just a breathing hole.
Sure.
Got it.
Like they might have a distinct hole for that.
Right. An eat hole and a breathe hole.
Cockroaches. Cockroaches have spiracles and book lungs that are just for breathing.
I've learned so much today.
Separate from the mouth.
I'm
Do you
not
know what
sure.
a cloaca is? Let's get into it.
That does seem like what they're here to hear about.
Could be the acid hole.
I mean, right. So maybe the hole is designed to here's the time loop, sphincter.
Acid is a great idea.
Well, that's the offer you really have to just take at face value, because why would an alien evolve such that its blood gives its opponents time traveling powers? Like that is, when you think about that on paper, that's such a wild offer. Why would the blood make you travel through time? That's the
Mr.
thing you just
Science.
accept. Yeah. Shing.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know what nature wants. Maybe that's what nature wants.
It does kind
time travel blood.
It does kind of thrill me to think about these, seasoned screenwriters who've sold a bunch of screenplays probably hashing out whether they need to explain why the blood makes people time travel, because that is such a stupid idea that having screenwriters argue about it is, to me, more entertaining than this movie could ever be.
It's only occurring to me now how dumb that is.
It's
like,
so
just
dumb.
That is the mechanism.
It's so
if you
dumb.
just say it out loud.
Yeah, it's like,
but you just buy it. You roll with it.
right. Man, what a fucking silly ass movie. Why do you think?
What about the?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. I don't have anything great here. This is going to be a bit.
I was going to ask about the battle suits. We haven't talked about the battle suits. I think they're handled really well, and that's the part I think is really owed to Starship Troopers. At least the book Starship Troopers starts with them in battle suits falling down on long lines from a helicarrier, and I don't know. I love mechs. That's all I want to say. These are some really good mechs.
They're good mechs.
Except that the head is totally exposed.
You're supposed to wear a helmet, and he never does because otherwise he's not Tom Cruise. My thing with battle suits is you always look so fucking slow in them. You know what I mean? Like the mechs make you look slow all the time,
but you actually are fast.
I'm sure, but like
it's just a trick of the light.
I'm sure that's true, but I feel like if I was a guy designing a mech suit, there's no soldier in the world that's gonna want to look like they're running on the moon all the time. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, "No, man, make me look fast, please."
But if you're moving like Sonic, it's a payoff, you know?
I guess.
Ooh, Sonic in a mech suit.
They did try to make it look like Emily Blunt was very agile in the suit.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Because she's flipping around in the suit.
Right.
Sliding and whatnot with the big ass sword.
I think the sword's actually the key ingredient to why she's so mobile, if we're being honest.
I think you're right, because it's like fighting style, so they like adjusted the speed of the like CG to fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. This movie also has aged poorly for CG for me. Right? I think
Really?
Yeah, I mean, not that it looks bad, like I don't believe it. Like it looks bad, like this is the amount of CG that makes a movie feel unemotional in some ways.
Oh yeah, I see.
You know what I mean? Like there's a
lot.
certain amount of CG that's like, if you do that, I won't care about it in 20 years, no matter how good it looks. You know, and this movie crosses
a lot of
that.
I mean, it's definitely like the spectacle wears off, but you know, sometimes we watch movies just to remember again,
just to
what
time
it was like
loop.
to be, 2014, just living free.
Yeah, God, that was only 10 years ago. This movie feels like it was 100 years ago when it came out.
Yeah, I go back and forth. That's why time is fucked, because I could simultaneously think that this movie was 10 years old and be like, that is too, it feels more recent than that.
I would have guessed either 8 years or 20 years. That's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
There's like aspects that I just don't understand. Like when I'm just bad at when things like.
Same. I'm terrible at
like when they came out. Yeah.
Oh, even in my own life, like, some major life event, and I'll be like, yeah, that was 5 years ago. They'll be like, that was 6 months ago, dude. You haven't lived that down yet.
You haven't, yeah.
You're not allowed to walk away from that.
Yeah.
Is Tom Cruise a producer on this movie is the next question I had. And it looks like the answer to that is no. So like that means that he agreed to do this movie because he loved it, probably, and not to make money on it.
And yet he does at one point escape on a motorcycle, which made me think he was a producer because he loves putting himself on a motorcycle.
That's why he read the script and was like, I'll do this because the motorcycle's here.
Yeah.
Just the one part where I go to a pub and have a pint, get called a coward by an old man. That's what really spoke to him.
Yeah, that guy really hissed it at him too. Coward.
I love that scene though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all the anger of the older generation.
Yeah.
And he's just like, bitch, I'm older than you if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, because it's the only one where he does a wacky one. Or it's like in Groundhog's Day when he drives as far away as he can and has a day in a whole different town or whatever. I don't even remember if he does that in Groundhog's Day, but you get my point. There's like, you got to do the one loop where, what if I didn't do anything that I did in the previous loops? What if I just did some random shit? I think that is a necessity in a time loop movie.
Yeah,
that's the wish fulfillment piece. The wish fulfillment piece is always how would I affect mayhem that doesn't matter, right?
Palm Springs Palm Springs.
That's a time loop movie. It's fine.
That's the one that's like,
right.
what if Groundhog Day was a horror movie, basically?
Yeah, and in that one, there's just like a magic cave that gives them the time loop, I think.
Yeah, and most of that movie is them fucking off. You know,
Right.
like essentially, he just doesn't do anything for the longest amount of time.
But there's a guy who's coming to kill them every day, right? Am I remembering that right?
I have never seen this movie,
Yeah.
but now I'm excited to see it, even though you've made it sound meh.
It's just okay. I don't know.
I mean, it's a necessary part of the evolution of like
Of
the
time loop.
ideas that we're talking
We could
about.
cover it.
Yeah.
Well,
Like-
Happy Death Day also is in the conversation somewhere as a horror
There you
time
go.
loop. Yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that one. I mean, it's been a little while, but like that one, I remember thinking didn't do enough of the time loop stuff for me to care about it. Like the time loop tropes, like it needed to do more of them if I remember it correctly. But it's
Each
been a little
loop
while.
was startlingly different from each other. They didn't do the thing where you plant something and then you build on it and then you build on it, like the card game,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
half the fun of a time loop.
Exactly.
Is seeing the progression. Yeah.
Slowly. I mean, they do the slowly getting better at the assault, but like
Right.
we yada through a lot of stuff because that's kind of the main focus is just he's got to get farther down, you know, the battlefield.
Yeah.
So that's why they almost exclusively use that trick for that main plot.
I want to
It
add
is-
this like.
Mhm.
Oh no, I'm going to take us in a stupid direction. So please don't let me do it until you're ready.
No, you do
Don't
it.
let me do
I'm
it.
ready.
Okay,
I'm ready.
The stupid
Yeah.
direction. It's just an observation I had. I think being a character actor is amazing in that if you stick around long enough, you always get promoted. Like Bill Paxton was basically in an Aliens movie, but he was not a Master Sergeant. Here he is at the end of his career, and he's been promoted to Master Sergeant in a movie. Brendan Gleeson was like, you know, a right-hand lieutenant type dude in Braveheart, and he's the general in this film. And it's like, it's just hilarious to me.
Well, yeah,
that,
you
like,
become seasoned. Yeah.
right.
This is
So you
some-
get promoted.
This is some lame ass twister erasure is what this is.
Wait, well,
What's his
Bill
rank in Twister?
He doesn't get ranked anything. He's not a lieutenant
but he's
of
like
tornadoes.
he's the
Chaser.
star, baby.
I don't
He's
mean
the
like in terms
star.
of importance. I mean like they literally play parts that are promoted. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Oh, I see. Because you
yeah.
get older,
Because
right?
you're right, and
like-
an older person is
Yeah,
further
yeah,
up
yeah,
the
yeah.
chain.
Okay, I see what you're
traditionally.
saying. My bad.
I'll
not
tell you this-
always. I met an
some-
old sergeant. I've met
Yeah.
several old sergeants.
Someone
oh, yeah.
who just didn't have what it took to rise
yeah,
through
just
the ranks.
couldn't get through OCS, baby.
Old
you know?
sergeant.
Yeah, old
Well,
sergeant. That's a movie.
O'Brien,
Sounds like
Chief O'Brien, famously. I'm sorry, I always bring it to Star Trek, but
It's all good,
he
baby.
stays a non-com the whole time, even though he's like saved the universe 20 times.
It's because he's got that big dick energy where he's like, I don't.
Yeah.
Care
I don't
about
need to be
your,
an
like-
I
officer.
don't
He
need
doesn't
anything.
care.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just fine the way I am.
Yeah. You go
Uh,
play with your toys, Starfleet.
For whatever reason, I do get the feeling like everybody had a lot of fun on this movie, right? It does feel like,
It's a fun movie.
yeah.
I
it
feel
has
like
that
Tom
thing.
Cruise has fun on every movie because he makes himself, or he at least, if he's not having fun, you would never know it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
brings
mean,
that
his-
positive
professional.
energy.
Right.
He's probably eating, you know, like hummingbird smoothies or some shit. You know, so who knows how, like, what he's on.
He's got his blood boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Peter
He's got his
Thiel.
blood boy.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I'm ready to take us through this wormhole. How are you guys feeling? Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, I could do final thoughts.
Yeah, I've picked it apart enough.
Okay, great. Now we're going to close the wormhole, we said, which is where we decide whether we stay in this universe, merge it with our own, or close it altogether,
Mhm.
and therefore, you know, escape just with our lives, but
Just
free of an
barely.
asshole,
Yeah.
allegedly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Who is clearly going to get caught? Abe, I'm sorry to say.
yeah,
but they're closing in.
100%, bro.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm the asshole?
You got a smelly corpse that's
You
being
gotta-
tracked.
Yeah. The
If
wrong
anyone-
death is by
Wow.
you.
If any celebrity has a tracker in their body, it's Tom Cruise because of the
Right.
Scientology.
What are
angle.
you
Yeah.
doing?
It's hypothetical.
All I can say is I'm in a hotel right now in LA overlooking Hollywood and Vine, and there's police tape up, and there's a lot of sirens. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's related to what you
I hope
got going
everyone's
on.
okay.
Yeah, sure you do, buddy. Sure you do. Sword boy.
You're such a sword boy. I'm giving him a sword just for that joke. Here's another one.
Like,
Second sword.
Dr. Saber.
I kind of agree with Dr. Katana here that we should absolutely close this wormhole because I do not believe that there is one chance in a billion that after a blood transfusion that anything that this movie says would happen happened. Like, there's just no way these dudes accomplished the third act of this movie, right? That's a huge problem.
Probability states were one of many conquered worlds.
Now,
right.
See, now that sentence confused me even more. What are you guys saying?
What I'm saying is, like, so, okay, the way this movie plays out, this guy's in a time loop, they figure shit out, but right as they figure shit out, he gets a blood transfusion, keeping him alive, which means he no longer has the power.
Yeah.
Right? So the whole third act of this movie presupposes they have this miracle run where they actually manage to kill the Omega
on their
without
last
dying.
life.
And it's like, no, man.
You beat the game on your last life. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
they're
I've played plenty of video games.
Predators, this organism,
Right.
like so the assumption is that if they were created by some form of natural selection, they are a very good apex predator. It's like putting a mouse inside a room with a jaguar. You're like, I'm going to bet on the jaguar, right? We're probably the mouse. This is a horrifying.
But again, this is a creature that's evolved such that its blood gives its opponent an incredible advantage. Like, how did these creatures ever survive?
And jaguars, you can punch in the nuts.
Yeah, but when they bleed on you, it doesn't do anything good.
Well, they also have the advantage is the other piece of this that never gets discussed. Like, they also should be sending dudes out to find him. But you know what I mean? Like, they're also not getting better at their own time loop.
Oh, really? I thought there was a point where you see that the alphas are intentionally trying to wound him, but not
Yeah, they
kill
say
him,
that.
so that he'll lose the power.
They say that.
But it's also, like, I kind of don't
clear.
accept how unsophisticated their efforts
They're kind of like animals, right? They don't
Yeah,
they
they're
don't
like
display
ants.
intelligence. And they didn't
Okay,
fly
I
here
guess
on a
so.
spaceship. They just came here on
yeah.
a meteor.
So maybe
They're just
maybe
being
that's
told
it.
what
Okay.
to do. It's a very centralized
It's
organism.
very Starship Troopers again, yeah. So maybe
exactly,
that's right.
the brain bug. It's
Or aliens,
literally-
the queen. I gotta say, that is a trope I'm done with. Borg queen also. Like, the thing where
Drones.
if you kill the queen, you win the entire war. Can we
Sure.
be done with that? I think they should have to mop up the rest
I'm
of the
okay
enemy
with that.
combatants.
I think we're going to get more of it because drone warfare, while it's still, relevant and
Mhm.
we've talked about it a lot, we haven't had a huge drone strike, like world news kind of shit.
Or I guess
right?
Not
I
yet,
guess if
right.
you were fighting a war with drones and you successfully blew up the building where all the drone pilots are, the drones would
That
all
would
fall out of
be-
the sky. Very similar to a queen situation.
I guess so.
That's right.
Counterpoint, if you replace all those queens with brain bugs, I'm kind of back in. Like exactly the
See,
brain bug from
To
Starship
me,
Troopers.
they're like the same thing,
They're functionally the same, but they're different in one way. The brain bugs are deeply hilarious. Like
They
one of
are
the funniest
deeply hilarious.
creatures I've ever seen in a movie. Wonderful movie. Anyway.
And they get stabbed in I don't know if that's a mouth. Who knows what that is?
Nobody knows if anything's a mouth
But
after
you
you're
see-
Ah,
But you-
Verhoeven.
But it gets stabbed in there, and I like to think that Tom Cruise did that with the Alpha.
What he does do is open his hand and reveal all the grenade pins as if to say "fuck
Yeah.
you" to the Omega, which I'm sure
That was very
is the
funny.
Omega's like, "Oh snap!" Same
Like, oh,
way.
shit.
It's also the
Oh?
same move from the end of The Professional, if you'll recall.
That's right.
Shows him
well
the
played.
ring. Yeah,
Well played.
Yeah.
That was part of the alchemy here. Part
I
of the
will
algorithm.
combine the worlds because
No.
because even though there's some threat implied, again, if they bleed on you, you get the advantage. So I feel like I could navigate that.
Superpower.
And now I live in a world that I'm still fairly comfortable with, but also there's this possibility that I could end up in a time loop, which sounds cool. And there's
Well,
a giant
sounds
sword.
cool.
It also kind of seems like if anyone ends up in a time loop, we win.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like that's the actual game you're playing is like, will anyone be in a time loop? And if so, will we
They can't lose.
we win.
They have infinite
Right.
continues.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
They don't have
Right.
infinite though. It's a cat and mouse game. That's why Groundhog Day seems to be consequence free because there's no time limit outside of the loop.
Learning love is the only way it ends. Yeah.
The alpha is coming to get you and going to mop up all her blood, so to speak, in this movie, right? Like, it's like, I'm going to take your power away, and then you're just going to be fucked. So there is a time limit in the macro sense, and that is horrifying, because it's kind of like the It Follows monster, where it's this slow march that inevitably will take you out unless you do the miracle run, right?
They kind of could have played into that more. Like, I would have liked to see Alpha stalking him and trying to take his, we want your blood. Yeah.
The dreams are kind of like just thrown in there.
The visions.
I feel like
okay, that was the part that I didn't
fun.
need at all. Because as we just said, this is one of the tightest screenplays we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
But I didn't need the false visions that showed him the wrong place before they found the right place. That was a little.
I think the visions would have been enough.
Yeah.
Like an unnecessary red herring.
Yeah.
Just to be like, I'm fucking with the
It's
alpha
not
baby.
Germany, it's France. Yeah.
But it does do the thing of eliminating the why aren't they using the time loop to their advantage question. So like it is pretty efficiently deployed ultimately because it eliminates that objection I had earlier.
That's true.
So that you could explain it to me
Or
and I'd
that
be
I
like,
could
well,
see.
fuck. I guess I should live in this universe, which is how I feel now.
Gotcha.
Fuck.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Anyway.
what are you doing with the wormhole?
I'm actually, I don't want it just because those are scary aliens. I will take my Space Jam aliens over these ones 9 times out of 10.
But that one time, he'll pick the mimics. It's a weird day.
I like to be wily. You know
yeah,
me.
you're a
baby.
wily guy.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of the Joker.
Untrackable.
Aw, now I'm
Yeah,
sad about that Wiley versus Acme movie again.
Shit.
No, I'm sorry.
Maybe that's why we should
Look,
live with
Wasn't
the
that
mimics.
bad news? Did that hit you guys as hard?
Not
as it
really,
hit me?
because it's hard for me to invest in any movie that's not out.
I just don't know what that movie would have been.
Right.
Really?
Right.
It would have been.
Will Forte played his lawyer. It would have been good.
I love
It's
that
a courtroom drama. A courtroom drama about Wile E. Coyote. How is that not going to be funny?
It does seem like it was getting. There was a moment where it was like, okay, is this going into Who Framed Roger Rabbit territory?
Because
I think the
Because
answer is
that
yes.
could be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be meta in the right ways, where it doesn't explain too much, and it's not about like wish fulfillment as much as like how much would it fuck over these people's lives. That's true.
And
I
of
do
course,
think
just
that's
the
a really
evil
good
of
impulse.
canceling and deleting a movie just because you had a reorganization and there's new executives in power. It's like all these artists work on that movie. Fuck them.
Mhm.
Yeah, tax incentives.
I made myself sad.
Tax incentives as a reason not to release entertainment is one of the terrible things about
That
our
shouldn't
world.
exist.
Right, it's
There's-
fucked up that life turned out to work that way. That's not right.
Life
Yes.
is cruel enough as it is. We don't need that as well.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
I feel like we mostly closed the portal.
Yeah,
You guys need
now
to
we
be
have.
more game with living in the alternate realities. I feel like I'm the only one who entertains alternate reality life.
But I
Does
feel
that
like
mean you're happy
No,
with
you're-
your life?
I mean, you're right.
we're not as adventurous as you are, I guess.
Okay.
I'm just distracted because the big thing on my mind is I just don't think you should be blamed for like eating a burrito while driving and like some beans drip out and fall in your pants.
And they're
so you have
hot.
to grab some tissues to wipe it off, and then like an accident happens. That's not on you. That's just part of having a burrito in a car.
Yeah. That's
By the way,
just-
it doesn't matter that it's a celebrity. You can't hit anyone.
I mean, you get extra years in jail for hitting a celebrity.
Do you? I guess you
Yeah.
kind of do. They have better lawyers.
I mean, yeah. That's just being kismet, Abe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Think about that, huh?
Yeah,
We like to think here.
Let's get
not
out of
just
here
joke.
before Abe inevitably hears a knock on the door.
I like to imagine him going to jail right as this song plays.
Mhm.
Bye, guys.